Hello, everyone. We are JobCentral, an app that makes applying and tracking job applications easy. Our team consists of 4 members of full-stack Android developers, myself, Kevin, Alice, and Yi Gao. Have you ever applied to hundreds of job applications over the span of a few months? After maybe 4 or the 5th month, you finally receive an email from a recruiter hoping to schedule an interview, but you had completely forgotten about the role you applied to at the company. We hope that our application can help with that. Upon brainstorming for this idea, our group members came together to think about a common issue that most students who are applying to co-op or full-time are encountering. One is keeping track of jobs that have been applied to. Another is to search various different sites to search for new postings. This resulted in the creation of JobCentral, an app where tracking job applications is made easy, where you can visualize your successes and have a central job board to see the most up-to-date postings.
So here's our thread design diagram. As you can see, if you were to start up the app, you land in the dashboard tab, which will start up the background thread to query both the job and company logo APIs that we use. Once those are resolved, the UI gets changed and the cards with all the jobs get populated. If you were to then switch to your application status tracker, it would again send out more requests to the database to get only the applications that you are tracking rather than querying the public API to find all the jobs available. And again, it will look up the logos for those companies. Once those are loaded, those are all displayed. If you were to try to view the graph to visualize your application status, that does not actually send a request to any database at all. We tend to pass data around between fragments in order to minimize the number of external queries we have to make. If you then go to your saved jobs tab, where you could, for instance, save a job listing that is available but you haven't yet applied for, again, that makes more queries out to the database to load all the jobs you've saved and to load up the company's APIs. Our settings tab, again, makes one last call out to the database so that it can display some big numbers to show, you have applied for 187 jobs and you've been approved for 2 of them. Yeah, in general, things only go on the background thread if they're actually calling an external database or API. Otherwise, everything happens within the app. For a demonstration of the app, here's our demo.
Upon opening the JobCentral application, so after they go into JobCentral, they are prompted to either sign in with a Google account or sign in as guest. So if we continue as guest, we land on the dashboard, and within the dashboard here, we have 2 job board APIs, which is Adzula and the Muse, and they essentially get the job listings, and we can see here are some sample jobs. The search bar at the top allows users to put in a search query. So for example, if we want to search data analytics, and here we see all the results displayed. The filter icon next to the search bar allows the user to render specific results. So for example, if they want like an internship, or maybe let's do internship, maybe in Vancouver area in product management. And then here we can see a list of all possible job listings. Finally, when we select a specific job that we're interested in, we can click on the card. And this will take us to a new page where a more detailed job description is displayed. If this job is something we want to apply to, we can click on the apply button, and this will render a redirection to the online application. If we want to save this job for later, we can select Save Job. Moving on to Kevin, who will talk about more of the saving portion here.
Yep, once we hit save from the dashboard, we'll see that our Save Jobs tab is populated with the job we just saved. And let's just create another job here. For example, if we saw external job posting we want to save to apply to later, we can click this plus button and enter some details. So let's do Amazon, for example, for a software engineer position. And let's say it's an internship. And then we can put in the link for the job. And once we have the link posted, we can pick a location. Let's just say Seattle. Hit save. And we'll see that our job is also showed up here. Something else we can do here is search for a specific job. So let's say we want to filter by just product jobs. We type in product, it'll show up all our product jobs. And if we clear our filter, and then what we can do next on these cards in the same tab is we can swipe right on each card to delete a job, and we could also undo it to remove the job. So if we delete the Amazon job, we can hit undo to bring it back. Another thing we can do on these cards is if we can click on them, which will allow us to edit. But for the sake of this demonstration, we won't edit anything. So we'll just hit save or cancel. Let's say we want to apply to this job, we can swipe left, which will redirect us to the job link. But if we go back to the app, we'll see that we're prompted with a dialog asking if we applied, and we can hit yes. And then we'll see that the job disappears and will be moved to our application tracker tab, which Alice will now talk about.
So over in the application tracker tab, we can see a list of all the jobs we've previously applied for, as well as these colorful little status badges that show the status of the current application. There are also filters up at the top. So if we were to click on applied, we see only the ones we applied for. Interviewing, we see just the ones we've interviewed for, and so on. Much like the previous tab, we can click on individual jobs to pull up some details about them. And that pulls this up. We can edit the details in here. So say, for instance, we applied to this job and they got back to us and they really liked us and they wanted to give us a job offer. So let's hit that offer button. And then we just hit save. And now it shows up with the offer. We can also choose the graphs button up at the top, which will load up a graph of all of our application status over time. If instead of a pie chart, we want a bar chart, we can go to the little drop down up top, change that up there, and click the change graph button. If for whatever reason we wanted to save this, we can just simply click the export button. And that will save a copy of this graph onto the phone as a PNG file. That's about it for the Applications tab. The only thing we have left is the Settings tab.
For the profile part, you can click on the image view, give permission, select from the gallery. You can select photo as your profile image. Here, the data, applied interviews, rejected, and offers data are shown related to the data stored in the database. You can see it's the same with the save part. And for the experience and education, you can choose the edit to give the changes. For the resume, click on the edit button here. Here you can upload the documents. You can choose PDF document or the DOC. Now I can show here. Let's choose save local. The next part is links. The links is also edited by the profile part. You can choose one of them to start. Yeah, like the LinkedIn link. Click on it to redirect to your LinkedIn website. That's all for the profile. In order to complete our project, we overcame various challenges. From a technical standpoint, unforeseen issues arose in each phase. Firstly, job API finding is hard, same as changing API application from core team. Secondly, logo API response and button setup has race condition problem to solve. File-based design and the resume upload are also tricky to handle. Additionally, the issue of personnel changes proved to be quite challenging. Originally, we had a team of 5 members, leading us to formulate a substantial workload plan. However, due to one member withdrawing from the course due to a personal emergency, this increased the workload for each of us. Fortunately, our task allocation and cooperation were well executed. Overall, we assign tasks based on 4 fragments and incorporate some additional support work. In details, Kevin do the job of logging, authentication, Firestore setup functions, and save tab company logo API, as long as the search bar filtering. Alice do the job of application status tracking and graph pages. Katie take over job API, populate dashboard, and filter logic to generate jobs. Yigal do the job of profile UI, local rhythm, and the website.
Next, we move on to the lessons we learned as a team while working on our project. One positive lesson we learned was the various technical skills we learned over the past couple of weeks, learning to use things like Firebase, new APIs, and libraries, which has helped us to adapt to and pick up new skills in ambiguous situations. Another lesson we learned was the importance of code reuse, where we shared various XML components and recycled functions between various fragments. This helped us save development time and increase consistency in our UI designs, which allowed us to focus on more important features. Finally, we also learned the importance of code reviewing from constantly reviewing each other's code commits, which has helped us catch potential bugs early, improving overall code quality, and promoted knowledge sharing between team members. Now let's move on to some of the negative lessons. The first negative lesson we learned was underestimating complexity of features and functionalities, which led to initial scope creep and later project delays and frustrations. To address this, we learned the need to plan ahead and set prioritizations for features into ones we actually need and ones that are nice to have. Another negative lesson we learned revolved around technical debt, where the team used shortcuts or temporary solutions when faced with challenges, which made future development more challenging. For example, when creating our Firebase Firestore functions for adding to the database, we left out parts of the database schema, which caused us to have to rewrite the functions. The lesson here is the importance of maintaining code quality. And those are all the lessons we learned over the last couple of weeks as a team, and we look forward to continuing on iterating on JobCentral. Thank you for listening to our presentation.